Okay, to those of you who've been away from us for a little while on the live stream, we're back. We've been in ceremony. We want everyone to know that as the ceremony was happening here, there was ceremony also happening in Maya territory. And part of the reason that we combine what we do every year with Maya people is because we believe so fiercely in the relationships that we have amongst each other as Indigenous people and the importance of solidarity with each other as Indigenous peoples without these borders that have been put up by colonizers. Melissa Harding Ferretti is the chairwoman of the Herring Pond Wampanoag tribe, and this is their territory where we are right now. She couldn't be with us here today, but she did ask us to say a few words before we began. Today, we give thanks to this sacred place, what is known as Plymouth, that lies beneath our feet and is at the heart of what we call the Wampanoag Nation and the traditional homelands of the Herring Pond Wampanoag tribe. Our ancestors are buried here, and our descendants can still be found here today, along with the many other kinship tribal communities and direct descendants throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The Herring Pond Wampanoag tribe is one of the few remaining historic tribes in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts today. As Wampanoag people, our history is well documented and interwoven with the early history of colonization in the Northeast. Of the thousands of acres of land set aside by the Plymouth colony for the Herring Pond tribe in 1655, only a few parcels and our 1838 Pondville Meeting House remain. We are still fighting to reclaim what we can. May you never forget the first peoples of this land. Our first speaker will be my co-leader, Keisha James. Keisha is an enrolled member of the Aquinnah Wampanoag tribe and is also Lakota, and she is the granddaughter of Wamsutta Frank James.
Good afternoon, sisters, brothers, and siblings. Once again on so-called Thanksgiving Day, United American Indians of New England and our supporters are gathered on this hill to observe a National Day of Mourning for the Indigenous people murdered by settler colonialism and imperialism from Turtle Island to Palestine. Today marks the 54th time we have gathered here to mourn our ancestors, tear down settler mythologies, and speak truth to power. National Day of Mourning came into existence 53 Thanksgivings ago when my grandfather, an Aquinnah Wampanoag man named Wamsutta Frank James, was invited by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to speak at a banquet celebrating the 350th anniversary of the arrival of the Pilgrims. The organizers of the banquet no doubt imagined that Wamsutta would sing the praises of the American settler colonial project and thank the Pilgrims for bringing civilization to these shores. However, the speech that Wamsutta wrote, which was based on historical fact rather than the sham version of history perpetuated in the Thanksgiving myth, was a far cry from complimentary. In his speech, Wamsutta not only named atrocities committed by the Pilgrims, but he also reflected upon the fate of the Wampanoag at the hands of settler invaders. Wamsutta's speech contained a powerful message of Native American pride. "Our spirit refuses to die," wrote Wamsutta. "Yesterday we walked the woodland paths and sandy trails. Today we must walk the macadam highways and roads. We are uniting. We stand tall and proud, and before too many moons pass, we'll right the wrongs we have allowed to happen to us." When state officials saw an advance copy of Wamsuta's speech, they refused to allow him to deliver it, saying that the speech was too inflammatory. They told him he could speak only if he were willing to offer false praise of the Pilgrims. The organizers even offered to write a speech for him, one which would better fit with their settler narrative. But Wamsuta refused to have words put into his mouth. His suppressed speech was printed in newspapers across the country, and he and other local Native activists began to plan a protest. The flyer for this protest, which was circulated nationwide, read, "What do we have to be thankful for?" The United American Indians of New England have declared Thanksgiving Day to be a national day of mourning for Native Americans. On so-called Thanksgiving Day, 1970, Wamsuta and members of at least 25 tribes, as well as a sprinkling of non-Native allies, gathered here on this hill and observed the first National Day of Mourning. Attendees spoke out about the Pilgrim invasion and conditions in Indian country, marched around Plymouth, boarded the Mayflower II, and even buried Plymouth Rock in sand. One leader of the American Indian movement would later say of the first National Day of Mourning that it is a day American Indians won't forget. We went to Plymouth for a purpose, to mourn since the landing of the Pilgrims the repression of the American Indian, and to indict the hypocrisy of a system which glorifies that repression. The founders of National Day of Mourning could not have foreseen that generations would continue to gather here year after year, carrying on this tradition. Many of the elders who stood on this hill and organized the first National Day of Mourning are no longer with us, but we feel their spirits guiding us today. So, why do so many people, Native people, object to the Thanksgiving myth? According to this myth, the Pilgrims, seeking religious freedom, landed on Plymouth Rock. The Indians welcomed them with open arms and then conveniently faded into the background, and everyone lived happily ever after. The end. Here is the truth. First, the Pilgrims are glorified and mythologized because the circumstances of the first permanent English colony in North America, Jamestown, were too ugly to hold up as an effective national myth. Pilgrims and Indians are a much more marketable story than settler cannibalism. Second, the Pilgrims came here as part of a commercial venture. They didn't need religious freedom. They already had that back in the Netherlands. The Mayflower Compact was merely a group of white men who wanted to ensure they would get a return on their investment. Third, when the Pilgrims arrived, on Outer Cape Cod, by the way, not on that pebble down the hill, one of the first things they did was to rob Wampanoag graves at Corn Hill and steal as much of their winter provisions of corn and beans as they were able to carry. Fourth, some Wampanoag ancestors did greet the Pilgrims and save them from starvation. And what did we, the indigenous people of this continent, get in return for this kindness? Genocide, the theft of our lands, the destruction of our traditional ways of life, slavery, starvation, and never-ending oppression. Fifth, the first official Thanksgiving did not take place in 1621, when the Pilgrims had a harvest time meal provided largely by the Wampanoag. Instead, the first Thanksgiving was declared in 1637 by Governor Winthrop of the Massachusetts Bay Colony to celebrate the massacre of over 700 Pequot men, women, and children on the banks of the Mystic River in Connecticut. Subsequent slaughters of indigenous people would be celebrated by a day of Thanksgiving, and yet we are labeled as savages in the history books. So why does any of this matter? It is simple. When people perpetuate the myth of Thanksgiving, they are not only erasing our genocide, but also celebrating it. We did not simply fade into the background as the Thanksgiving myth says. We have survived and flourished. We have persevered. The very fact that you are here is proof that we did not vanish. Our very presence on this land frees the land from the lies of the history books and the myth makers. We will remember and honor all of our ancestors in the struggle who went before us. We will speak truth to power as we have been doing since the first National Day of Mourning in 1970. That first National Day of Mourning was a powerful demonstration of Native unity, and it has continued for all these years as a powerful demonstration of the unity of all people who speak truth to power. Many of the conditions that prevailed in Indian country in 1970 still prevail today. In 1970, our average life expectancy was just 44 years. Today, we continue to have the lowest life expectancy of any group in the US, and the death rate for Native women has increased 20% over the last 15 years. In 1970, our suicide and infant mortality rates were the highest in the country. This has not changed. All of us are struggling under the oppression of a capitalist system which forces people to make a bitter choice between heating and eating. And we will continue to gather on this hill until we are free from this oppressive system, until corporations and the US military stop polluting the earth, until we dismantle the brutal apparatus of mass incarceration. We will not stop until the oppression of our LGBTQ siblings is a thing of the past, until unhoused people have homes, until human beings are no longer locked in cages at the US border, despite the fact that no one is illegal on stolen land. Until no person goes hungry or is left to die because they have little or no access to quality health care, until insulin is free, until union busting is a thing of the past. We will not stop until Palestine is free, until the US ends its colonial occupations of Puerto Rico and the sovereign kingdom of Hawaii. Until the US ends its interventions in Haiti and repays the billions it stole from the Haitian people. Until the US pays reparations to Black Americans. Until land's back for Native nations. Until then, the struggle will continue. In 1970, we demanded an end to the Bureau of Indian Affairs. It is still a demand today. Native nations and peoples do not need the federal government to govern ourselves or take care of our own lands. As we did in 1970, we mourn the loss of millions of our ancestors and the devastation of the land, water, and air. We condemn all acts of violence and terrorism perpetuated by all governments and against all innocent peoples worldwide. This includes the myriad crimes of the United States government. Since the invasion of Columbus, Indigenous people have been terrorized by settler governments. From the colonial period to the 21st century, this has entailed torture, massacres, systemic military occupations, and the forced removals of Indigenous peoples from their ancestral homelands. Let us not forget that this country was founded on the ideology of white supremacy, the widespread practice of African slavery, and a policy of genocide and land theft. Let us not forget that under the pipelines, skyscrapers, mines, and oil rigs lie the interred bones, sacred objects, and villages of our Native ancestors. Today, on liberated territory, we will correct the history of a country that continues to glorify murderers such as Christopher Columbus, and that worships slave-owning presidents such as Washington and Jefferson, and even carves their faces into the sacred Black Hills of the Lakota. In 1970, very few people would have given any thought to the fact that the Indigenous people of this hemisphere do not look upon the arrival of the European invaders as a reason to give thanks. Today, many thousands stand with us in spirit as we commemorate the 2023 National Day of Mourning. As my grandfather said in 1970, quote, "We are now being heard. We are now being listened to." The important point is that we still have the spirit, we still have the unique culture, we still have the will, and most important of all, the determination to remain as Indians. We are determined, and our presence here is living testimony that this is only the beginning of the American Indian, particularly the Wampanoag, to regain the position in this country that is rightfully ours. In the spirit of Crazy Horse, in the spirit of Metacom, in the spirit of Geronimo, above all, to all people who fight and struggle for real justice, we are not vanishing, we are not conquered, we are as strong as ever.
My name is Matoe, and I'm co-leader of United American Indians of New England. We have such a beautiful day here. It's in the low 50s, the sun's out. It's amazing, and it's even more amazing to be here with all of you. We especially are grateful to our ASL interpreters who are here today. It's important for every political event to be accessible to deaf and other communities, and it's important that we all work harder to do that as well. So we thank you so much for being here, and they volunteer their time to do this. They're just extraordinary. I mean you too, Chris. All right. We want to thank Sunny Singh from Hate 56 for being our genius live streamer. Thank you, Sunny. The Braintree Art Project, Workers' World Party Boston, and USWA Local 8751 for sound. And you will see on the march, I don't know if people can hold it higher, we have a brand new United American Indians of New England Palestine banner. It's over there. And that was made just within this past week by our friends Hanan Farouk and their crew. And it's beautiful. And it talks about land back, and it says, from Turtle Island to Palestine, colonialism is a crime. I need a few more thank yous. It's not the Oscars, we know that, but we do have to thank people too. We want to thank Daoud Andre from the Haitian community in Brooklyn, who brings a bus every year. And we say United States and United Nations out of Haiti now. We want to thank SB Martel and the crew that came up from the Bronx. Many of them are Boricua people. Viva Puerto Rico Libre! Maradsky and Gillis, who organized the bus from Jamaica Plain. And a newcomer this year, Evan Fritz from the University of Connecticut, who organized a car caravan that came up from Connecticut today. And especially, we want to welcome all the Indigenous people who are here, some of them from Massachusetts or this region, and some of them who have traveled long distances to be here from Mexico, so-called British Columbia, and Alaska. And let me not forget students. Welcome Indigenous and other youth and students. Thank you for being here today. We know many of you have been busy, as you should be, out on the streets, demanding change. You too? Good. And we thank you for being with us. In addition to warm greetings to our Indigenous relatives from North and South America, we welcome Black and Palestinian people to the National Day of Mourning. as well as members of the Two-Spirit LGBTQ plus community. We welcome all of you here from the four directions. As an organization long dedicated to opposing colonialism, we at UAIN understand fully that our liberation is intertwined with that of other colonized and oppressed people. We want to express our solidarity with refugees and migrants, many of them indigenous, who continue to be forced out of their home countries due to US policies. And we continue to insist that the deadly US-Mexican border with its walls and murderous concertina wire is not our border. Am I talking way too fast? Okay. Looking out here over Plymouth Harbor, it's so beautiful. And it's hard, though, not to think about the environmental destruction that the Pilgrims and subsequent waves of settlers have brought with them. For example, just down the road from here, there is a now decommissioned nuclear power plant called Pilgrim Nuclear Power Station. We have a little rowdy section of youth up here. All right, thank you. And it's good that it's decommissioned, but the problem is that Holtec, the company that's been doing the decommissioning, has been planning for a long time to dump more than 1 million gallons of radioactive water into Cape Cod Bay. There has been widespread opposition to that because, of course, people don't want that. Meanwhile, though, it turns out that Holtec has been releasing some of that radioactive water into the air in the form of gas. And they clearly plan to release more in that manner. Yet they're not stopped. Down the road a little further, you'll find the Massachusetts coastal pine barrens, one of only 3 pine barrens left in the world. This incredibly rare and important ecosystem, which formed over thousands of years and which houses hundreds of species of animals and birds, is under threat from sand and gravel mining. Water is life, and we humans are part of that life, but settlers have forgotten this. They largely forget that what we do to the land, we do to ourselves. The way to address climate change is not the Green New Deal, nor is it the fake carbon proposals made by nations at places like the big climate conferences, with COP28 coming up right now. So-called sustainable energy sources are rarely sustainable, as indigenous people who protect 80% of the world's biodiversity often bear the consequences. Throughout indigenous territories, land and water are constantly being exploited without the consent of the traditional owners. My mind is drawn to the wind turbines off Martha's Vineyard that were installed without the consent of the stewards of that land, the Aquinnah Wampanoag tribe. Tribes in Massachusetts need land back. The Mashpee and Aquinnah Wampanoag and other tribes need land back to rebuild their economies and to be able to bring their people back to their homelands. And we say there is no climate justice on stolen land. For instance, in Nevada, there is a sacred area called Thacker Pass, where a settler massacre of dozens of Paiute people took place in 1865. The pass is also the site of the largest known lithium deposit in the US and one of the largest in the world. A massive mining project on the site by Lithium America was approved by both the Trump and Biden administrations and started construction earlier this year. For those who support it, the mine is an essential component for a US shift to a greener future. But they ignore that the mine threatens irrevocable environmental and historical destruction to the area. We think today, too, and send out our love to our Kanaka Maoli siblings in Hawaii who are continuing to live under colonial occupation, who are continuing to experience poisoned water, poisoned by the Navy in the Pearl Harbor area, who are continuing to experience tremendous homelessness and displacement and grief because of the wildfires in Maui a few months ago. And we know that those fires were really caused by colonization and by taking away the native plants there and everything else that happened as a result of colonization. In so-called Canada, from coast to coast to coast, First Nations, Métis, and Inuit communities are fighting against the effects of colonization. Mi'kmaq people are fighting for their fishing rights, once again. Everywhere, people are trying to stop destructive development. Drug deaths are hitting hard in all of our Indigenous communities. Missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, two-spirits, trans people, and relatives continues to be a crisis throughout Indian country. I think especially today of the situation in Winnipeg, where a serial killer was known to have dumped bodies of murdered Indigenous women in a landfill there. And Native people have demanded that the landfill be searched for their bodies. They know there are bodies there. Yet the government, both the provincial and federal governments, have refused to do this. Indigenous people throughout Canada know that if a white woman were killed, they would be searching. They would have money for that. So we join them in calling for the landfills to be searched and say that Indigenous women are not trash. Search the landfill! 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 I hope that guy Pierre Trudeau and all those other politicians can hear us right now. So, here in the so-called United States, Native nations achieved a major victory when the Indian Child Welfare Act was upheld earlier this year, and it was a huge relief for all of us. But that law needs to be strengthened and further enforced. And we also must point out that our children are still being snatched and put into foster care in disproportionate numbers, separating thousands of our youth every year from their land and their culture. The theft of children has often been a core tenet of settler colonialism. I noticed over the last several weeks that there are actually settlers saying, oh, I see that there's a Palestinian orphan. I'd like to adopt a Palestinian orphan. Maybe what they should be doing is working hard to ensure that Palestinian children can stay within their own alive families and can stay within their own country. I want to turn to speaking about Palestine for a bit. Our organization has supported Palestinian resistance for decades, and we pledge never to let our relatives there or here down. When you see a genocide happening, whether in Congo or Sudan or Armenia or Palestine, you need to try to do something about it. If you are silent, that is supporting the genocide. And this is a basic principle that I think many of us as parents have taught to our children. Yet Too many people are still standing by right now, afraid to speak up because of the repression that's being directed against those who stand up and defend Palestine, especially against students, many of whom have been arrested.
Let them speak up. Free speech.
So I want to tell you that we're honored to have a Palestinian speaker on our program today, and I'm going to explain why, too. From our perspective, Palestinian people are indigenous. What has been happening to Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank since October is an increase in what has been an ongoing genocide directed against them by the settler colonial state of Israel. But the violence against Palestinians has never stopped in more than 75 years. For instance, 60% of the children of Gaza were malnourished before October because of the conditions of the occupation. And Israel controls not only Gaza's water, but also 80% of the water in the West Bank. What we are witnessing is a resurgence of the ongoing barbaric violence of settler colonialism there. Palestinians have been subject to being killed, imprisoned, assaulted, tortured, starved, denied access to water for years. Right now, a second Nakba, or catastrophe, has been happening. And if you believe that land back is necessary here, then you need to understand that land back is also necessary for other colonized peoples of the land. As Indigenous people, we understand firsthand that to be a colonized person is to exist under constant violence, physical, cultural, and psychological. We call what is happening in Palestine genocide because that is what it is. You can't take a pause in genocide, nor is this a war, nor are there two armies. We see the same features of manifest destiny and white supremacy that we have experienced, weaponized against Palestinians. We speak plainly and say that this is also apartheid. Our organization opposed apartheid in South Africa decades ago, and we oppose it in Palestine now. Palestine! The Pilgrims in Plymouth and the Puritans in Boston were obsessed with the idea that they were in a wilderness provided for them by their God, as though the land were empty and waiting for them. This idea is so embedded that even today, I hear from school children and adults alike that the Europeans brought civilization here, and that indigenous peoples were not actually doing anything with the land. The invaders come and they rename the streets and villages and rivers. They actively erase the existence of people who live here and continue to live here. And this certainly sounds familiar to Palestinians. Zionists still speak about Palestine as a land without people for a people without land. And they say even if the land was not empty, it was supposedly full of people who had no real connection to the place, didn't know how to develop and exploit the land the way the Europeans did. And so they lack legitimacy. This propaganda insists that indigenous people lose legitimacy because they are somehow not sufficiently there or they are somehow insufficiently civilized. When I look at Gaza, I see too reflections of all the indigenous people killed in the wave after wave of massacres here in North America, in Congo, in Haiti, in Australia and Ireland, Puerto Rico, the Philippines, Algeria, people around the world whose only crime has been to exist and resist settler colonialism. and of course, the United States, the unapologetic killer of millions of indigenous, Black, and other oppressed peoples, supports this. You know, if we, the colonized, suffer in silence, then we are sometimes considered to be suitable objects of settler pity and charity. But we don't want pity. We want freedom and the restoration of our homelands. We fight back because we must. We fight back by living, having children, loving each other, remembering our true history of who we were and who we still are and who we will be. We fight back for our land because that is part of our bodies too. We fight back in any way we can because the alternative is to become extinct on our own homelands, which is the ultimate goal of settler colonialism. So we know what it's like to be considered animals and savages and to endure generations of ongoing genocide. Colonialism tries to dehumanize us, but we never lose our humanity. I think of the settlers who have often had no trouble killing even our children because they didn't see any of us as fully human. And they continue to tear our families apart. I remember Colonel Chivington from Colorado, who led the Sand Creek Massacre, said to kill them all, women and children, because nits make lice. And that is exactly the sentiment that we are hearing now from Netanyahu and many others in Israel as they justify the massacre of thousands of children and their families, as they now openly even support the spread of infectious diseases to kill off even more Palestinians. As Indigenous peoples, we resist the violence and erasure of settler colonialism and the attempts to dehumanize us until we can fully become ourselves, who we're meant to be, through liberation. Like Indigenous people here, Palestinians themselves must decide what they want for their future and how they will resist. It is absolutely not for outsiders to decide that for them. We also know there is greed underlying what is happening. Greed for the land, greed to control the water, greed for gas and oil and other resources. We call out Genocide Joe Biden and nearly all the politicians in the US and Canada, in Britain and elsewhere who have been supporting genocide and providing billions of dollars in funding and weapons, filling their own pockets and the pockets of the manufacturers. We cannot appeal to the morality of our colonial oppressor because they have none. We have to make things uncomfortable for them so they can't go out to eat, they can't do anything without being called out for their support. But we are in relationship with each other, and we are in relationship with the land. As Indigenous people, the land is part of our bodies, our stories, everything we are. The land, the rivers and seas and lakes of Palestine await the return of the Palestinian people. So today, on U.S. Thanksgiving Day, we say that we will not be thankful for these crimes against humanity laid bare for the whole world to see. We will not be thankful for the billions of dollars stolen from us, money that could be going to housing and education and food on tables, and instead that is flowing out in aid to the war criminal state of Israel. We will not be thankful for the ongoing destruction of our beautiful planet. We feel the struggle of Palestinian people and of all indigenous peoples in struggle in our hearts and in our bones. Today, we are asking you to mourn and to listen. But tomorrow, we ask you to use your heartbreak and your rage to fuel your action to make this end. A ceasefire is not enough. A ceasefire is the bare minimum. The Palestinian people need reparations to rebuild. Occupation and settlements must end. U.S. aid to Israel must end. Palestine must be free. Free, free Palestine! 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 Free, free Palestine. Thank you. I wanted, for those of you who have not been here before or watched a live stream before, to explain sort of the order of our program. We will have some more speakers up here on Coles Hill, and then we're going to march down to Plymouth Rock. We will have another rally with speakers at Plymouth Rock. I can tell you that we have three great speakers down there scheduled. And then after Plymouth Rock, we're going to march to the square in Plymouth where Metacom's head was displayed on a pike by the Pilgrims by many years. And we'll have a closing rally there with also a speaker or two. When we end, we will have box lunches, bread and water available for people after we finish the final rally there. We will not distribute any food, or there won't be anything happening until that final rally is over and until we close out ceremony. We opened with ceremony and we will close with ceremony. And we'll also have UAIN t-shirts available at that time. When you take food, please take only what you need. Okay. So, are you all ready for our amazing lineup of speakers today? All right. I don't see it. Where's your mom? Oh, come on over to this side. Okay. Okay. Okay, there you go. Thank you. Take a breath. So, she didn't get lost. She just went to the other side of the stage and had to come over to where we have the steps. We have a crew that came here today from so-called British Columbia, which so-called, and we're thrilled that they're here. And we invited Harriet Prince, who is 82 years old, a well-known powwow dancer on the circuit in Canada all summer long, and who is also a residential school survivor. And we asked her to say some words to us today. So please listen to Harriet Prince. So talk right into the mic, okay?
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here. That was quite a trip from Vancouver. 3 of us came, my daughter and my other adopted daughter. Anin, mekinak ndishinikas, atik do tem. I come from a little res called Sagging in Manitoba. What I said there was my name. My inner name is Mikinak, meaning turtle, and that's how I move. If you noticed, I'm my clan is Caribou. I'm a Anishinaabe from Manitoba, a residential school survivor, 13 years. I went to three residential schools. I was 4 years old when I was taken away and didn't get out till I was 17. I didn't go home all those years. So I was robbed of family love and all that, but I survived. Still here. My little sister was 3 years old, and my brother was 6 years old. We went to yes, I mentioned that before. When we got there, we got bathed, took our clothes away, cut our hair, and the first 3 nights they put DDT in our hair. Can you imagine that? And they put DDT in our hair and wrapped our hair in turban style, and we slept that way for a long time. And awful smell of that. Anyway, I got some notes here to remind me. Okay. Yeah, when we went to put us to bed, we could hear little girls crying. We were lonely, we were scared, we didn't know where we were. I was 4 years old, my sister was 3. And we wondered, when's our mom and dad coming for us? They didn't come till I was 17 years old. I didn't see them till I was 17 years old. Can't read my writing here. We only went to school for half a day. I was 4 years old. Maybe when I was 7, they got me to start scrubbing floors on my hands and knees, sometimes with a toothbrush. What saved me was Elvis Presley. My brush was just going, with Elvis Presley there. That was in 56, I think. I was 12, I don't know what. You do the math. Yeah, I don't remember too much of the school, the classrooms and that, because we only went half a day, and my education wasn't that. We didn't get all that much education in half a day of school. The rest we had to do housework, sewing, scrubbing floors, and laundry. Yes, but as I was getting older, I started learning from the older girls how to behave, how to listen. So I was scared. I was scared to get punished. So I listened and hid most of the time from the staff because I didn't want to be slapped or hit around again for speaking my language. And to this day, I fully mostly understand my native language, Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, but I can speak it if I had to save my life. I had two close friends, and we decided we're going to run away. We didn't last long. They came and found us, and we got strapped, of course, and we had welts up to our arms up here. And we still had to go to school that way, and we wore long sweaters.
Still here, baby. Still here. Woo!
Thank you. Needed to hear that. They made us go to church quite often, and all I heard in church was death, death. And in our culture, we talk about life. I was scared. They talked the fear of God in me, and I was scared to die. What am I? I hope to live to be an old woman. I didn't want to die because they put that fear of God in me and the fear of death in me. Now I'm ready, Creator. I'm ready because it's going to be a good life up there. Go see the ancestors. Sorry. My memory's going to no. After I got out of residential school finally at 17, I went straight to work. I didn't know there was such thing as welfare, which I didn't go on, of course. Anyway, I got married and I got 3 children. My oldest is sitting there, Marla Prince. And she used to live in Boston here, and that's how I got to know this gathering. And then she comes here she brought me here, and oh my God, look at the ocean. Beautiful out there. Thank you, Creator. When I heard about the 215 in the Kamloops area, Marla had asked me to do a prayer for her organization, and then that's when I heard about the 215 in the middle of my prayer. I had to break down and said prayers for the little ones. And in Cowessess, there is another unmarked graves, found 751 of them. And on my way to Manitoba, I dropped Marla off in Regina. She had her siblings. She had to go visit some of her siblings. And about an hour out of Regina, west of Regina, east of Regina, I was bound and determined to go find those unmarked graves. In the meantime, Marla's all worried about me because she thought I wouldn't find them, but I was bound and determined to go find those unmarked graves and pay my respects. Put my tobacco down. I sat there, put my tobacco down, prayed and cried and talked to the ancestors. It's so sad. And there's more. There's more schools. There's more unmarked graves out there. It could very well have been my little sister or myself that would have been in those down one of those unmarked graves, but we were lucky. We got away. I'm not very good at this speech often, but thank you. I did. When she asked Marla, I said no first, and then I slept on it. And just as I was sleeping, and just as I was waking, I heard a voice say, "Just do it." That was my ancestors. Anyway, any fellow survivors out there, residential school survivors? Anyway, we as residential school survivors, truth helps us survive. And that's my inner name is Mikinak Turtle, and there are 13 stages of truth, and as you know, the turtle has 13 panels on his back, and each panel represents a different kind of truth. Also, it represents our 18 moons of the month. And our spirit is what holds our bodies together. Our anger, I call it righteous anger. because we have to work on getting rid of this anger, which I'm still working on today, because from 4 years old to 17, my childhood was taken away, my family. All the love I should have been having was taken away, so it's very hard for me to forgive also, and that's what still I'm working on. It will take a while. Forgiveness is another hard thing to do as survivors, but through ceremony, we can overcome this. Culture saved ceremonies and the culture saved my life. This is how I'm able to stand here, because of the Creator and the ancestors. My brother and sister, they have gone on now and left, and they talk to me. I know they're with me all the time. And also, I just lost my only son. He was my baby, and he sends me dimes all the time, and I know he's there. And Sean Leonard, we went to see Sean Leonard, and they did come through. And they're happy. They're in a happy place. They're all sitting in the green grass. My family there. They're having a great time. I'm anxious to go up there and join them now. Okay, love also. We must first forgive ourselves in order for us to feel love. To love ourselves first, and then work on forgiveness, which is very hard for me. Yeah. Love also. We must forgive ourselves, and then everything comes with love. Learning to love oneself opened the day. Learning to love ourselves again. Oh, I can't read my writing. I have learned these later in my life. All these ceremonies and my culture. I didn't get to learn all these till she's Harriet, smartened up. Anyway, I met this elder I was 55 years old, and that's when I really truly learned my culture, started going to sweats and all these ceremonies, and then my spirit woke up. So I've been feeding my spirit with these ceremonies, and that's how I survived. They didn't get rid of the Indian in me. I'm still here. Thank you.
We want to ask, if you're sitting in one of these chairs in the front, this is for interpreters, and disabled people and elders who need to be sitting in the chairs. So if you don't need to be sitting in the chair, we'd ask for you to make some space, okay? Just to make sure that people have seats who must have them. Thank you. All right. How's everybody doing? All right. We have two more speakers to go up here on the hill. The last speaker is going to be Jali Naru, who is going to bring us a message from Leonard Peltier. But first, we have Salma Abu Ayash. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. I call on my ancestors to envelop us here today with their protection and guidance. I call on my father Ibrahim, a Palestinian ancestor who fought for Palestine all his life, to bless my words as I take on this responsibility of speaking to you today, honoring this day of mourning. I am grateful to be in native Wampanoag land. I am grateful to be on the stage speaking after these indigenous women and elders. When my sister Matowan asked me to speak to you, I felt my heart expand out of my ribcage. I literally stopped breathing for a few seconds. I want to start by saying that this has been one of the greatest honors given to me. I don't take this responsibility lightly, and I don't take this honor for granted. This gathering continues to be a place where we not only mourn and remember past and current genocides, but also a place where we unite in power, in our belief that a different world is possible. In our conviction that we humans of all backgrounds, will not stand for supremacy, genocide, and the continued extractive, destructive processes that Matowan just talked to you about, and that colonialism, capitalism, imperialism, and greed employ to destroy our planet and humanity. This is our struggle, our children's struggle, and that of our ancestors before us. And it will be a long one. It will be a hard one. But we will never, never give up our fight for indigenous rights of land stewardship and rematriation. We will never give up our right to fight for Black liberation and reparations. We will never give up fighting for all immigrants and oppressed people across the planet. And I hope you are all with me in our struggle to liberate Palestine. We Palestinians yearn for a land where Palestinians have self-determination, liberty, sovereignty over our lands, freedom of movement, and to be free from the daily pogroms, killings, and incarceration that has been going on for 75 years and more. A land where anyone, whatever your relationship with the Creator or lack thereof it, is welcome to participate in building a nation with equal rights for everyone. I say, bring it on. We are a generous, loving people. Palestine was once such a place before the state of Israel was created on 78% of its land. One of its cities, Jaffa, was called the mother of strangers because just before 48, it was a thriving Arab port on the sea that welcomed everyone. Before European settler colonial invasion in the early 19th centuries, this century destroyed our societies, alienated neighbors, and turned Arab Jews and non-Jews against each other. Yes, we have a dream, and it will come true, because anything short of this dream is accepting a system of genocide and oppression, continued aggression, and settler expansion. We Palestinians have all the power we need because you, indigenous people, everywhere, Black and brown people, the wretched of the earth, people of conscience, Jewish people who shed their fears and join this mass of love, working class people, and all people who understand their privilege and the wrongs of their ancestors. We have all the power because we choose life for all. Palestinians, in our pain, our disbelief, our trauma, let us remind ourselves that we have a Native matriarch sitting in the front seat, leading the Palestinian women, chanting their hearts out for Palestine on top of an old truck that's here somewhere, pulling us forward with her love and perseverance. Let us remember that indigenous people in our communities made visible what settler colonialism is, why land back is important. Let us be clear that young black women and men and their elders, writers, artists, educators who taught us about anti-blackness, structural racism, including exposing the US carceral system, these same black, young, and not so young are marching with us day in and day out, just like Palestinians march with them in Ferguson and against the prison industrial system and police brutality everywhere. A police that is trained in many US states and towns from Boston, Cambridge, you name it, by the Israeli army. Black and indigenous peoples movement made visible the frameworks that allow us now to speak with clarity and no uncertain terms about the systemic buildup of anti-Palestinian, anti-Arab, and Islamophobic systems in the US, from think tanks and racist institutions and university programs that further imperialist goals of the US and Europe in the Arab world, and that destroyed Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Libya, and Lebanon, and that continue to destroy and exploit Africa, South America, and build their empires on the blood of people of the global South. I know there is no doubt in your mind. There is no dissonance. There is no paralysis. You know that our struggles are intertwined, sourced from the same well of revolutionary spirit and determination, from the same history of colonization, and from the determination to be free. Palestinians will acknowledge you always and hold you in our hearts in gratitude and join you in your struggles even during this dark cloud of carnage. Because it is one struggle. It is our collective liberation, and that is our power. And now Gaza. I wonder, do we really understand what it means when 15,271 children, women, and men are killed in 40 days? Can you imagine it? Or that 4,150 people are still caught under the rubble of buildings hit by Israeli air and artillery. Look around you. Think of these numbers. I won't recite the staggering numbers of schools, places of worship, hospitals, and civilian buildings destroyed, or the number of journalists targeted, and healthcare workers or teachers killed. I don't think our brains are capable of absorbing these numbers and this carnage anymore. Can you take watching another video of a child being pulled from under the rubble? Or a man being lynched by a mob of Israeli soldiers? We are all watching what is happening in Gaza in horror.
The world is watching. The world is watching. The world is watching.
But maybe you don't know what is happening in the West Bank, right at this moment. I'm a Palestinian from the village of Beit Umar, north of Al-Khalil, Hebron. When I speak with my aunt, she describes to me a scene of terror that has intensified since October 7th. Settlers roam with their machine guns day and night. According to the New York Times even, there are over 200 killed by settler rampages and over 2,000 injured, including over 1,000 who fled from their homes due to these recent armed pogroms. Some 2,650 Palestinians have been detained by the army in the West Bank, and at least 195 Palestinians have been killed, and over 2,500 others injured, according to the last update from the Palestinian Health Ministry back in November 15th. There are 171 healthcare facilities destroyed. My cousin, my aunt's son, is detained, and the last time she was able to speak to him, almost 3 weeks ago, he spoke of torture, of stripping prisoners of their clothes, of taking everything away from them, of not allowing enough food and no access to sun or sanitation. Indeed, this was corroborated by their vile leaders describing the scene with pride. What's happening in Palestine today is a condensed, horrible version of what's been happening to us on a daily basis for over 75 years. I have yet to hear one mainstream media report fully on what's happening. Did you hear anywhere that 22 hospitals were attacked, bombed, and rendered non-functional, or that 66 mosques have been completely destroyed? Let alone put this carnage in context. Every report from the media should remind you that Palestinians are a people that have been living under a brutal occupation, and that our land has been and continues to be colonized since 75 years. They should also remind you that people under conditions of occupation, transfer, and continued colonization have the right to resist by any means possible. And that an occupying power has no right to defend itself against the people it occupies. Certainly not inflict such horror, collective punishment on a whole population that has already been under siege for 16 years. We reject a state that has no constitution or defined borders, and that has been deemed an apartheid state by 2 international organizations, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, and 2 Israeli human rights organizations. A state that has 65 racist laws discriminating against non-Jews, including a nation-state law of the Jewish people that declares the right to exercise national self-determination to be unique only to the Jewish people, and that declares Jewish settlement as a national value, and that mandates that the state will labor to encourage and promote the establishment and development of Jewish settlement. We all know what that means. We reject the notion that anti-Zionists are anti-Semites because we oppose and resist. Hello? 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 It's not working. I can project.
Well, you can't project it this crowd. We'll just wait because Gil's
Okay.
trying to fix
It's
it.
still going to the cameras and to the live feed. It's not going to the speakers. Everything else seems to be working.
Yeah, but people won't hear. We want people to hear her. Okay, it's okay. Whatever we can do. And then you can still speak there because that's still going to the camera. But
Okay.
And then he's going to give you something so the crowd will hear now. He's just hooking up something temporary.
Okay.
Okay. Should we get somebody to hold this, or you have an idea? Yes. We're just going to put a chair here, and then we'll be able to put that. This happens sometimes. It's okay. You did that so you get a break.
Tripped over the wire. Right?
All right, folks, let's do this. From the river to the sea.
No.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Long live Palestine!
Long live Palestine.
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine. Long live Palestine. Free, free Palestine.
Palestine. Free, free Palestine. This one, no? Okay.
You say something that
Okay.
so you can continue.
Thank you.
Just to make sure everything's working.
Free, free.
That's not working.
Free Palestine.
It's working. It's working. Okay.
This one is not.
This is the live stream.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. We reject the notion that anti-Zionists are anti-Semites because we oppose and resist a settler colonial state. Palestinians have lived with peaceful Arab Jewish people for centuries. Our fight is against the white European settler project, not against our Jewish brothers and sisters. We mourn the death of all innocent lives and stand with Jewish people fighting white supremacist and anti-Semitism in Europe and the USA and anywhere on the globe. Let me remind you, there are 7,000 Palestinian hostages that are now being held in Israeli jails, including 172 children. We know this is not just about hostages. These human losses did not happen in a vacuum. 75 years of dispossession, 56 years of continued murderous military occupation and settlement, and 16 years and more of siege of a population in Gaza is the root cause of this carnage. If the US truly cared about Jewish people and their safety, it would have worked to resolve the root causes of this carnage. When Biden said, if Israel didn't exist, we would create it, what do you think he meant by that? Without 34 UN Security Council vetoes that the US threw in the face of peace since 1954, making a mockery of the only global institution that was created to ensure we preserve our humanity, none of this would have happened. Without the military aid the USA lends this terror machine, including the recent $14.8 billion, none of this would have happened. Without the US lobby, AIPAC, that funnels millions into the pockets of our representatives, none of this would have happened. Without US institutions, businesses, and universities that silence Palestinian voices, none of this would have happened. The true face of Zionism has been on display for decades, but it can't get any clearer after the past 40 days. Just Google statements by Israeli leaders, starting with Netanyahu and others, likening us to animals and calling for ethnic cleansing. How could the same people whose parents and grandparents suffered so much in their own history turn around and use genocidal fascist tools on another population? How is this good for Jewish people on this planet? I would go as far as saying that Israel, Europe, and the United States governments are the anti-Semites themselves. Not us who call for liberation and equality for all. Do not tell me peace before you recognize that the system of apartheid and supremacy has to be dismantled, just like South African settler apartheid state was dismantled. Once that happens, Palestinians and Jewish people can live in peace on the historic land of Palestine. Anything short of this is blind to the nature of this settler state and its racist laws against non-Jews, and is causing and has been causing Palestinians great harm for 75 years. Not even a two-state solution is possible before the foundations of the state of Israel that are built on supremacy and colonization are challenged. I have no faith in any of our senators in office who need to be told to stop this genocide. But we do need to keep pressure on them, not let them off the hook. So tell them that you don't support this racist settler colonial state, that a brief ceasefire, even if it gives a few days of respite to the terrorized population, is not going to protect Gazans after that period is over. Ask them, why is the sanctity of the lives of our children any less important than white children's? Tell them that your tax money, your hard-earned penny, should not go into war machines, not in your name. That they should go first for reparations for Black and Indigenous people. The United States spends more on national defense than China, Russia, India, Saudi Arabia, United Kingdom, Germany, France, South Korea, Japan, and Ukraine combined. What kind of a country is this but a criminal imperial one, criminal outwards towards other nations? Sorry. And criminal inwards towards its citizens who desperately need care. Shut it down. Speak of Palestine everywhere, because believe me, our numbers matter. And when you speak up, others will. And those in power will have to reckon with our voices. And exercise your right of boycott and divestment, even if 35 states passed laws against this peaceful method of resistance started in South Africa. In closing, this violence is meant to break us all and make us accept it. How do you put an end to this energy of destruction and rescue what is left of our humanity? I urge you to take power from this gathering and other gatherings of people of conscience. Our solidarity is everything. To our oppressors, I say, you can build your dreams on our bones. You can imagine your safety guaranteed through the violence you inflict on us. But we will not stand by. We will resist you till our last word and our last breath. And to my people in Palestine, I call out to you. I hold your hands firmly, and I kiss the earth beneath your soles. And I say, I am prepared to die for you. أناديكم وأشد على أياديكم وأبوس الأرض تحت نعالكم وأقول أفديكم. Long live Palestine!
I turned that off just for a second.
Yeah. Long live Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
Long live Palestine!
Free!
Long live Palestine!
Long live Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Whatever you want to do. Hold on. Do you want?
Unfortunately, this one's going to the live stream,
Yeah. So it's important.
so you got to hold it too. But shout into that one.
Let me see it.
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free
Just a minute.
Huh?
Palestine!
Free, free
Testing this. Yeah, it's good. Okay.
Palestine!
All right.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
Okay. Okay.
Do one more thing.
Okay.
Twist the microphone.
Okay. That'll help, Charlie. Go ahead next. I'll hold it. Yeah. Okay. All right. It's amazing to be here today and to see all the support for all the struggles that we're talking about here today, and to hear so many words from people's hearts as well about what's going on and about their experiences. It's a lot. It's we all cry together. That's all I can say. So stretch a little bit. We're going to have one more speaker, and while the speaker is speaking, we're going to have people going through the crowd with a red shawl, and that is for you to put in any cash donations you may wish to give. I don't know what to do. The sound is what it is, so I'm going to yell in this. Okay? I'm sorry, we're doing the best we can because the other sound died, so we're using a backup system. So I'm going to yell as loud as I can, which is pretty loud, but a lot of years of going to demonstrations and yelling, believe me. So we hope that you can hear us. What I'm trying to explain is we have one more speaker left. She is going to be bringing us a message from Native political prisoner Leonard Peltier. And while she is speaking, there are going to be people with a red shawl moving through the crowd to collect any cash donations that you may have for the ongoing many years of defense and work for Leonard Peltier to try to get him free. And we're going to tell you more about his case if you don't know about his case. And we also want everybody to know, especially live stream people, but anybody else here, that you can go to freeleonardpeltiernow.org and get more information and make donations there as well if you do not have cash to donate today. I hope some folks heard me over here. And our next speaker is Charlie Naru, and she's loud too. So, because at UAIN, we really like loud people. So, welcome, Charlie.
Taigwei, see, I am loud. Taigwei di ituno kena diatia ono diri chalinaru boriken taino daka kena guainia yukayeke boriken United Confederation of Taino People Cabos Yaha. Now let me put my eyes on. Okay. All right. Okay. I wanted to begin sharing a few words in my indigenous language, which is not English nor Spanish or any other colonial language. I was taught by my elders that it is respectful to begin in this way. So in translation, good day, my brothers and sisters. My name is Chalinaru. I am a citizen of the Guainia Taino tribe. I am a liaison of the United Confederation of Taino People, and I am so happy and honored to be here with all of you today. Ha home. As a Taino woman, a mother, and grandmother, yeah, I am a BB, and a Massachusetts representative of the United Confederation of Taino People, I stand here in solidarity with the indigenous peoples of these lands and our allies. We Taino people know what it is like to have settler days forced upon us. Last month, the U.S. celebrated the coming of the Christ-bearing colonizer Christopher Columbus to this side of the world. Children in grade schools are introduced to this whitewashed version of history every year with no understanding of the pain he and his crew caused my ancestors. This is an injustice, just as the whitewashed version of the so-called Thanksgiving holiday is an injustice to the memory of these ancestors of the indigenous peoples of this land. Thanksgiving, really? More like Takesgiving. As Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. In closing, we, the United Confederation of Taino People, remain thankful for those who work so hard to offer alternatives to these false histories like the National Day of Mourning and Indigenous Peoples Day across the country. As Indigenous peoples, we are resilient and we're still here. I am proud to stand here with you again and say, Seneko Kakona, abundant blessings to all. Ha home. Thank you. We have a statement to National Day of Mourning, once again from our beloved brother, native political prisoner Leonard Peltier. As we are speaking, we will have some people moving through the crowd with red shawl, just like Matwi said. Please make a donation for the benefit of Leonard's Defense Committee if you can. If you are watching on the live stream, you can go to the website freeleonardpeltiernow.org to make an online donation. Thanks to Talia Yarina Caro Cachimuel from NDN Collective for providing us with an update about Leonard's case. She, unfortunately, could not be here because she had to travel early to preliminary meetings at COP 28. In 1977, Leonard Peltier, an American Indian movement member from the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa, was framed up and sentenced to 2 life terms in connection with the deaths of 2 FBI agents, Jack Kohler and Ronald Williams, on South Dakota's Pine Ridge Reservation 2 years earlier. Peltier had been a part of the 1973 Wounded Knee occupation to protest the Oglala Sioux tribe's corrupt government and the federal government's failure to honor treaties. Even the FBI's own ballistics evidence showed that Leonard was not the shooter, but that and other evidence was suppressed by prosecutors at the trial. Yeah, of course. Leonard Peltier is now 79 years young, and in his 48th year of unjust incarceration. For nearly 5 decades, indigenous activists, organizers, and allies have rallied behind the fight to free Leonard Peltier. Between the numerous constitutional violations that took place throughout Leonard Peltier's trial, the outright racism, his ongoing health concerns, and his fragile state as an elder, it's hard to fathom and grasp how we're all still here advocating for his release in Plymouth and other NDOM, where we have used our platform every single year to raise up the unjust incarceration of Leonard. Recently, NDN Collective and Amnesty International USA hosted a Free Leonard Peltier 79th birthday action in Washington, D.C., where hundreds of supporters and allies gathered in front of the White House on Leonard Peltier's 79th birthday. Representative Raul Javla led a bipartisan bicameral letter requesting clemency for indigenous activist Leonard Peltier and obtained signatures from 33 members of Congress. Former U.S. Attorney James Reynolds handled the prosecution of Mr. Peltier's case. In an extraordinary letter to President Biden, Mr. Reynolds said, "I write today from a position rare for a former prosecutor to beseech you commute the sentence of a man who I helped put behind bars." Leonard remains hopeful that he will return home to North Dakota. Free Leonard Peltier! Free Leonard Peltier! Free Leonard Peltier! Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now this is a letter from him himself. Greetings, my relatives, friends, loved ones, and supporters. Know that my spirit is with you on this day of mourning, honoring a past stained with blood and tears, bearing a hopeful present and victorious future. Since those ships came in 1492, every day has been a day of mourning, and every day has also brought to us the struggle for nothing less than our unconditional liberty. Alcatraz stands as a monument to our struggle. Plymouth Rock, a testament to our resilience. The oppressor has tried to push us to precipice since their arrival, yet we remain. We respond by being who we are and always have been, the first people, caretakers of Mother Earth. She gives us birth, gives us life. Her strength runs through our veins. Her strength is our strength. When our journeys end, we return to her womb. The Creator sets our path before us. We walk that path and we do not retreat. The greed of the colonizers will be their undoing. Colonial society has no real strength. Their money says, "In God we trust." And how apropos? Money is the oppressor's God. They strip Mother Earth bare through their policies of greed and corruption. Never forget our strength comes from giving back, from protecting ourselves, each other, our women, our children, Mother Earth. I've spent most of my life caged, but they cannot cage the soul of a sun dancer. My grandfather taught me a long time ago what I must be and do for my people that can and never will be caged. We are changing the world. Every one of us must grasp what is ours to change. History is not something that happens in a vacuum. History is forged, and forge we will until victorious. At the Battle of Greasy Grass, we are victorious. At Standing Rock, we are victorious. The Black Hills, our sacred site and resistance, we are victorious. Brothers, sisters, two spirits, you know my story. It is the same story since 1492. They contrived to prosecute me with proven fabricated evidence and sentenced me to 2 life sentences to cover up their own wrongdoing. 3 years forth of murder and atrocities against our people. But plant a tree for me, that tree will hold a memory. And like it, you must remember your language. Remember your people. Remember your culture. My liberty is bound to yours. The time is now. We stand together or we perish apart. In the spirit of Crazy Horse, Daksha, Leonard Peltier. Thank you.
It's a big crowd. Okay. All right, we're almost done up here at least. Did you bring a hammock for yourself? Okay. All right. Are you all ready to march? Of course you are. So I want to announce a couple of things. our march at the very front will have Rosalba and her medicine crew in the lead, okay? And then on the lead banner for the march, we would like to have our speakers be holding the lead banner at the very front of the march. So if you will please, speakers, start moving over that way, that would be great. For everybody else, just the march will be slow. That's intentional. We want everybody to be able to keep up while we're marching. Caitlin, if you can hear me, I texted you on Messenger. Take a look at that. Jean-Luc, if you can hear me, I just need to speak with you for a minute. Okay. Yeah. You know, sometimes things are a little messy in public, and it's okay. So listen, we're going to have a great march. Those of you on live stream are going to be able to see the march, and we're going to have another rally down at Plymouth Rock, and everybody will see the reason that Plymouth Rock is considered to be the most disappointing tourist attraction in Massachusetts. Okay, let's take care of each other and march together.
Free, free Palestine. Resistance is justified when people are occupied. Resistance is justified when people are occupied. Resistance is justified when people are occupied. Resistance is justified when people are occupied.
Clap once if you can hear me. Clap twice if you can hear me. Okay, we have a long march and we have a truck that we need to get to the front of the march. Can we somehow move the people to the right? Move the people to the right. We need to move the truck up to the front of the march.
You're already behind the truck.
Free Leonard Peltier! Free Leonard Peltier! Free Leonard Peltier! Done. Free Leonard Peltier! 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 Free Leonard Peltier!
The people united will never be defeated.
The people united will never be defeated.
The people united will never be defeated.
El pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
El pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
One. Okay, one more time. We're going to move the truck all the way to the front, and then we want the banners. We want indigenous people after the banners, and everybody else. Thank you for being here. Let's keep it going. Truck first, then banner.
Cannot roll down the street, no.
Power, power to the people!
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 Power, power to the children!
Power, power to the children!
Power, power to the children! Power, power to the people!
Power, power to the people!
Power, power to the children! Power, power to the people!
Power, power to the people!
Power, power to the people!
Power, power to the children!
Power, power to the people!
Power, power to the people!
Power, power to the children! The people united will never be defeated!
The people united will never be defeated!
The people united will never be defeated! The people united will never be defeated! The people united will never be defeated! El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. Free, free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Stand up! Fight back! Stand up! Fight back! Stand up! Fight back!
Stand up! Fight back! Stand up! Fight back!
Stand up! Fight back!
Stand up! Fight back!
Stand up! Fight back!
Stand up! Fight back! Stand up! Fight back!
Stand up! Fight back! Stand up! Fight back! Stand up! Fight back! Stand up! Fight back! Stand up! Fight back! Stand up! Fight back! Stop the genocidal state! Stop the genocidal state! 2468! Stop the violence, stop the hate! 2468! Stop the genocidal state! 2468! Stop the violence, stop the hate!
Stop the violence! Stop the hate!
2468!
2468!
Stop the genocidal state!
2468! Stop the violence! Stop the hate!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Leonard Peltier! Free Leonard Peltier! Free Leonard Peltier! Free
Yeah.
Stand up like that! Stand up like that! What do we do? When children are under attack, what do we do? The people united will never be defeated.
The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
Power, power to the children! Power, power to the people! Power, power to the children! Power, power to the children! Power, power to the people! Power, power to the children! Power, power, Palestine! 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 Power, power, Palestine!
Power, power, Palestine!
We resist to our last breath. Build a dream on our bones. We resist to our last breath. We resist to our last breath. Build a dream on our bones. Build a dream on our bones.
We resist our last breath. Build a dream on our bones. We resist our last breath. Build a dream on our bones. We'll resist our last breath.
Build a dream on our bones. We'll resist our last breath. Build a dream on our bones. We'll resist our last breath. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Genocidal state. 2468, stop the violence, stop the hate. 2468, stop the genocidal state. 2468, stop the genocidal state. From Plymouth to Palestine, we condemn genocide. From Plymouth to Palestine, we condemn genocide.
We condemn genocide. From Plymouth to Palestine, we condemn genocide. From Plymouth to Palestine, we condemn genocide. We condemn genocide. From Plymouth to Palestine, we condemn genocide.
From Plymouth to Palestine, we condemn genocide.
We condemn genocide. From Plymouth to Palestine, we condemn genocide. We condemn genocide. From Plymouth to Palestine, we condemn genocide. We condemn genocide. From Plymouth to Palestine, we condemn genocide. We condemn genocide. From Plymouth to Palestine, we condemn genocide. We condemn genocide. From Plymouth to Palestine. Condemn genocide. We condemn genocide. Power, power to the people. Power, power to the children. Power, power to the people.
Power to the people.
Power, power to the people. Power, power to the children. Power, power to the people. Power, power to the children. Pueblo unido, jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido, jamás será vencido. The people united will never be defeated.
United will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
The people united will never be defeated. This is what unity looks like. 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 This is what unity looks like.
unity looks like. Show me what unity looks like. 2, 4, 6, 8. Stop the violence, stop the hate. 2, 4, 6, 8. Stop the genocidal state. 2, 4, 6, 8. Stop the violence, stop the hate. 2, 4, 6, 8. Stop the genocidal state. 2, 4, 6, 8. Stop the violence, stop the hate. 2, 4, 6, 8. Stop the genocidal state. It's justified when people are occupied. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Resistance is justified when people are occupied. Resistance is justified when people are occupied. Free land of Palestine. Free land of Palestine. Free land of Palestine. Free land of Palestine. Free 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 Palestine.
This is my last National Day of Mourning. Yes, I'm not coming back.
Build your dream on our bones. We'll resist our last breath. Build your dream on our bones. We'll resist our last breath. Build your dream on our bones. We'll resist our last breath. Build your dream on our zones. We'll resist to our last breath. Build your dream on our bones. We'll resist to our last breath. what unity looks like. Show me 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 what unity looks like.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
856. Next.
Nico too?
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Resistance is justified when people are occupied. Resistance is justified when people are occupied. Resistance is justified when people are occupied. Resistance is justified when people watch my back, we're under attack, you got my back, I got your back. Watch my back, attack, you got my watch my back, I'm under attack, you got my back, I got your back. Watch my back, I'm under attack, you got my back. Watch my back, you're under attack, you got my back, I got your back. Watch my back, I'm under attack, you got my back. Watch my back, I'm under attack, you got my back. Watch my back, I'm under attack, you got my back. You got my back. I got your back. I got your back. Watch his back, he's under attack, you got his back. Watch his back, you're under attack, you got my back. I got your back. Yes, no! Watch my back, I'm under attack, you got my back. Watch his back, he's under attack, you got his back. Watch her back, she's under attack, you got her back. Watch her back, she's under attack, you got her back. Okay, to Palestine, we condemn genocide. From Plymouth to Palestine, we condemn genocide. Free Leonard Peltier! 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 Free Free Leonard Peltier. Free Palestine. 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 Jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
I haven't read a book. I think we're looking at time.
United will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. 2, 4, 6, 8, stop the violence, stop the hate.
And coming from what we brought, because we also bring
2, 4, 6, 8, stop the genocidal state. 2, 4, 6, 8, stop the violence, stop the hate. 2, 4, 6, 8, stop the genocidal state. 2, 4, 6, 8, stop the violence, stop the hate. 2, 4, 6, 8, stop the genocidal state. Free Leonard Peltier. Free Leonard Peltier. Free Leonard Peltier. Free Leonard Peltier. Free the land. Free the land. Free the land. Free the land.
Thank you.
All right, folks, let's file in. Lay it back, right? Lay it back. Let's take it. Let's fill this place. All in line, all our banners lining up beautifully. Let's fill it in. Wow, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. Let's let these people know. Lion, Native people, stay here. Lion, colonizer. Native people, stay Lion, colonizer. Native people still live here. Native people still live here. All right. We still have people I still see people down the street. Man, lots of people today. My name is Jean-Louis Pierre. I am originally from New Orleans. I'm a member of the Tunica, Biloxi tribe of Louisiana. And here I've been living in Massachusetts since 2011. I've been living in the Boston area since 2013. And it is there that I serve as president of the board of directors for the North American Indian Center of Boston. We are Massachusetts' oldest urban Indian center, providing cultural and social services for the New England Native American community since 1970. And when we say urban Indians, we mean that this United States Congress in the 1950s adopted policies of termination of trust relationships with indigenous nations, adopting policies of forced urban relocation, forced assimilation. And despite that, our communities held through and we found our cultural hubs within these urban Indian centers. And like every decent person, every person that believes in human rights, all of our indigenous peoples have a right to return to their homelands. Now if you look over to my right, where my hand is waving, you will not see the most inglorious It's trash. Thank you. Basura. Okay.
La tocamati mía, a todos los que están aquí. El día de hoy tenemos un mensaje del Consejo Maya de Ancianos de la parte de Guatemala. Compañeros y compañeras, we are so grateful to you all. For many months and suns, you have welcomed us. We carry simple words indigenous people, are wearing banjo to walk with Mother Earth. Creation, better known as the world, solar system, galaxy, and universe. According to what we feel and see in our hearts, we have reached a point where we cannot go any further. And furthermore, gracias, viento. And furthermore, we might lose everything we have if we stay as we are and do nothing more to move forward. Build a world where many worlds fit. So it's time to take a risk again and take a step, but it's worth it because united with all the colors of creation, it will be possible to build a world where many worlds fit and use the step forward in the struggle is only possible if indigenous nations join together with all colors of workers, peasants, students, teachers, employers, all in the city and the countryside. Maltiosha Hau, Maltioshela, in la Keshkach, Ukushkelo, Consolo de Mayan elders, Kaba, Shemha, Wolum Goods, Metal Check, that's Winky Talk, Tu Toch, from the Mayan elders. Thank you. Gracias.
Okay. Hello, hello. Oh, is the sound off? Hello, hello. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Oh, there you are.
They're trying to shut us up, but we will prevail. They're trying to shut us up, but we will prevail.
Okay, and do not point the microphone this way. Just try to speak like this. Also, Caitlin Blackwolf, can you come to the truck, please? Caitlin Blackwolf. Okay, thank you. All right, so next up we have traveling from Alaska, a member of the Tlingit Nation. We have Jamie Ann and our son Keegan, so I will give the word to you. Thank you.
Ganeshish in my language means thank you, but it actually means more. Ganeshish means this would not be possible without you. Noble peoples of Mother Earth, it is an honor for my son and I to be here with you today in this territory. We are spiritual beings. Each and every one of us is a spiritual being having a human experience. We are united. We are one. We are the human beings. I'd like to thank Matui Monroe and the United American Indians of New England for welcoming us and providing this opportunity to speak to you, to be woven into today's National Day of Mourning, to tell you more a little bit about who we are, where we traveled from. Tlingit Kenat, Echtin Ayahachtai. My Tlingit name is Echtin. Today is a day of speaking truths. Today is a day of irrigating wounds that have not had the chance to heal. We are together healing, every single one of us. My English name is Jamie Ann, and I just want to say that's my taxpayer's name. We traveled from Juneau, Alaska. My son, Anka Scott Keegan, and I flew in from Juneau, Alaska last night, and we will be departing here on Saturday. Anyone that wants to feed us dinner, we're open for that. Yek Nahat Siti, Deshitan Ayahat. We are of the Deshitan clan, the Raven and Beaver clan, of Angun Kwan, Hutsnuwu Kwan, Yesagi Hittach. We are descendants of Angun, Alaska, and the Raven's Bones House, where the dragonfly is our house crest. We are the descendants of the 1882 bombardment on our village by the U.S. Navy. Today is a day of truth speaking, things that we do not learn in our educational system. These things can be learned here today. If you do not know of the bombing of 1882 by the Navy in Angoon, we had several villages that were bombed by the Navy. 1869 Cake, 1869 Wrangell, 1882 Angoon. We are the descendants of the bombardment, where our great-grandfather, Ankaska, whose my son carries the name of, was standing on the beach. His father swooped him up, and they ran into the woods for the winter. October 26, 1882. All of the houses were burnt down. They sent foot soldiers in, and they destroyed all the canoes, except for one that was farther away, watching from a distance. And that is what saved us through the winter. We are the descendants of that genocide, and today you get to hear that truth and learn about that part of our history. We are the grandchildren of the Kagwantan, the Eagle Wolf clan, and the Eagle's Nest House. We are the descendants of what was deemed the last potlatch, another piece of history you may not know. The last potlatch of 1904, where we were subjected to United States Indian policies, where culture and language were outlawed, as across Turtle Island. We are the first and second generation standing here before you who were not forced into a forced assimilation residential boarding school institution. We are cycle breakers. We are the healers. Things that happen to our grandparents reside in our bodies, something called epigenetics. When your grandmother was pregnant with your mother, when she turned 4 months old in the womb, she grew all of the eggs that she will ever have had, meaning you were in there. You were experiencing all the stresses of the society, all of the colonial, all of the segregation. Whether you were receiving it or your ancestors were placing it on people, it resides in us. And part of our healing process is to acknowledge that. With you here, we are all experiencing healing on a cellular level. It will take at least 3 generations to break this cycle. So be conscious, be mindful in everything you do, in your thoughts, in your words, in your actions. Have conversations with your family, your children. Know that you have to watch for 3 generations to break this cycle. 3 generations. Consciously do the work. The world is craving us in our indigenous knowledge, and this is just part of it. My grandmother, I stand here before you as the president of the Alaska Native Sisterhood Camp 2 Juneau. My grandmother was a grand president and was involved with it. We are the oldest known anti-discrimination organization in the world! Woo! Our people have fought for our rights. We passed the first anti-discrimination bill in 1945, 19 years before the United States discrimination bill. We fought to have unsegregated schools. The Alaska Native Brotherhood and the Alaska Native Sisterhood was birthed out of residential boarding school institutions, where 12 of the members attended Sheldon Jackson Institute, and one member, taken by the Quaker Friends, was sent to Carlisle Institute. The ANB, Alaska Native Brotherhood, was born in 1912, where the ANS followed in 1915. And like I said, we advocated for our rights. Alaska Territorial Legislature recognized the rights of Indigenous people to vote in 1915. In 1924, the Congress passed the Indian Citizenship Act. But in 1925, the Alaska Territorial passed that voters had to pass a Literacy Act test, excluding many of us from voting. It wasn't until 1945 that Anti-Discrimination Act was passed. And it wasn't fully enacted until 1965 when we gained our voting rights. The last genocidal residential boarding school in Alaska closed in 1969. And as Indigenous people, we did not gain our freedom of religion until 1978. This is in our lifetime. We didn't have freedom of religion until 1978. And so with the Alaska Native Sisterhood, one of the challenges today forefront of religion. Just recently we adopted a bylaw to include all genders, all gender expressions, and all spiritualities. I say that's a call to face the forefront of religion and to remove it and place it where it belongs, in a memorial setting. So with that, I want to just give a few things that we can do. Some of the work that I've been doing as the president of the Alaska Native Sisterhood is taking care of Indigenous cemeteries. They are in great danger of progression. To go to a cemetery and help clean it, help uncover it, help save these places from progression. With the attention, you can make a difference and not have more pipelines or anything going through them. Take care of those cemeteries. I mentioned the Quakers earlier. They're to right relations and learning about their own history of genocide. In their history of genocide, they are also facing their white supremacy culture. In that, I'd like to encourage all of us, every single one of us, to look at white supremacy culture. Google the characteristics. whitesupremacyculture.info. We have internalized oppression and it continues to hurt our communities. And when we face those characteristics, we can untangle it from our minds and we can better communicate with one another and really show up in meaningful ways. The Quakers came and have met with us, the Alaska Friends, leaning into right relations, an Indigenous Healing Center, removing the Western calling on healing. Just recently, the Presbyterian Church has come to Juneau, and they gave their apology for tearing down a church that was led by one of our leaders, Walter Soboloff. It was a racist closure. They came in hand with the only reparations I've seen so so far to date, because we're new in this psychic healing, they came with $1 million in hand. $100,000 right there on the spot to say this is for language revitalization. Because we know that culture heals. Culture heals. Our language heals. Everything that was taken away from us is the very thing that will heal us. I want to encourage everyone right now to do a little bit of lateral kindness. Something in island, in every native village organization, we have something that's coined as lateral violence. This is lateral oppression. And it is rooted in colonialism and those characteristics I mentioned. Right now, I just want each of you to look behind you, on side of you. Make connection with that person on side of you. Say hello. Get their number. Find them on Facebook. We are united. We are family, and we are all in this together. We are all a part of the healing, and we are all human beings. We've heard some talking today about residential boarding school institutions and healing. We heard from a survivor. This piece of information, this resource is again for all of you to Google boardingschoolhealing.org. Boarding.org. Another thing you can do is acknowledge the land that you walk on. This app is called Native Land. Download the Native Land app, and it will tell you the land you're walking on wherever you go. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Talk about this stuff at work. Don't just walk away from here today and not the people that you're walking past anymore. Back. If you're a farm owner, give some of that land back. Land back. Land back. Land back. Land back. Give donations to the causes, to giving land back, to traditional healing, to indigenous wellness. Indigenous people. We have to teach our children Robert's Rules of Order. Part of the game is to know how to play it. Start getting small groups together. Give them examples. Order a pizza. Order, make a mock Robert's Rules of Order agenda. So that when our children are able to get to those seats, because they're rightfully ours, seats in the city, seats in Congress, seats, representatives, senators, we need them. We have rightful seats there. We just need to dust it off and come in. Let's take our rightful seats. Okay, we can focus on worldwide healing and build a network of connections of lateral kindness, like the mycelium that runs throughout the whole entire world. That's us. You are mycelium. We can be that network. We can be the network to face our own internalized white supremacy culture characteristics, and we can strengthen our network system by focusing on lateral kindness and healing. And I think that about wraps it up. Senator Kane has again, my Klinken and Saktin. I saw many, many actions of kindness today. Many actions of kindness helping each other, but I really wanted people to see each other, that we are here collectively together, and that this moment can never be recreated. We can gather every single one of you into this same space, but this moment, that moment, would never be the same as it is right now. So to be here, to be present, and to really honor each other's presence is just so beautiful and healing in itself. Again, Shigat Kinats Ektinaya Aksai, Ganishchisha Saki. Thank you so much for having us and hearing our words.
Okay, so we're just about to restart our march to the last stop. So what I want to do is take the National Day of Mourning banner and go in front of the truck. Let's do that. And let's have the banners start lining up behind the truck. These other banners. So we can have the Free Leonard Peltier Indigenous Peoples Day now from Turtle Island to Palestine. Let's bring those banners up here, just behind the truck. And everybody's going to march behind the banner. There they are. So we are going to thank our first chant leader, Christian. And I'm going to give the word.
Thanks for your work today.
We're going to give the chant lead to Caitlin here, who is going to bring us to the next stop.
All right, everybody, I want to thank you so much. We're going to continue the march now. Thank you so much for your time and being here together. We're so happy we can come together in unity and solidarity because these are our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose land? Our land. Whose land? Our land. Whose land? Our land. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose land? Our land. Whose land? Our land. Whose land? Free Leonard Peltier! Free Leonard Peltier! Free Leonard Peltier! Free Leonard Peltier!
streets?
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose land?
Our land.
Whose land?
Our land.
Whose land?
Our land.
Whose land?
Our land.
Water is life.
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 No genocide.
No genocide.
No genocide. No genocide.
No genocide.
Stand by our side.
Stand by our side.
No genocide.
No genocide.
Stand by our side. No genocide. Stand by our side. No genocide. Stand by our side. No genocide. Water is life.
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 Whose streets? Whose streets? Whose streets? Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose land?
Our land.
Whose land?
Our land.
Whose land?
Our land.
Whose land?
Our land.
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Free Palestine.
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now.
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Free Palestine.
Stand by our side!
Stand by.
Genocide!
Stand by our side. No genocide.
Stand by our side! No genocide!
Stand by our side. No genocide.
Stand by our side! No genocide!
Stand by our side. No genocide.
Free Leonard Peltier!
Free Leonard.
Free Leonard Peltier! 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 Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose land?
Our land.
Whose land?
Our land.
Whose land?
Our land.
Whose land? Water is life.
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 Free Palestine.
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 Stand by our side, no genocide.
Stand by our side. No genocide.
Stand by our side, no genocide.
Stand by our side. No genocide.
Stand by our side, no genocide. Stand by our Stand by our side, no genocide. You got my back, I'm under attack. You got my back. You got our back, you're under attack. We got your back. He's got his back, he under attack. You got his back. You got her back, she under attack. You got her back. You got his back, he under attack. You got his back. You got his back, he under attack. You got his back. You got her back, he under attack. You got her back. You got my back, I'm under attack. You got my back. Three letters, fill the air. You said three letters, fill the air. Go down, go, buddy. To three letters, fill the air. Just free Leonard Peltier. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free We tell Joe Biden to free Leonard Peltier. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Stand by our side, no genocide. 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 Free Leonard Peltier. Free Leonard Peltier. Free Leonard Peltier. Free Leonard Peltier. Go tell Joe Biden. We'll tell Joe Biden to free Leonard Peltier. To free Leonard Peltier. We tell Joe Biden. We'll tell Joe Biden to free Leonard Peltier. To free Leonard Peltier. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. First Nations first. Woo! Free Leonard Peltier. Free Leonard Peltier. Free Leonard Peltier. Free Leonard Peltier. Go tell Joe Biden. Go tell Joe Biden. To free Leonard Peltier. To free Leonard Peltier. Go tell Joe Biden. Go tell Joe Biden. To free Leonard Peltier. To free Leonard Peltier. Free Palestine. 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 Stand by our side, no genocide. 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 Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose land? Native land. Whose land? Native land. Whose land? Native land. Whose land? Native land. Free Leonard Peltier. Free Leonard Peltier. Free Leonard Peltier. Free Leonard Peltier. Tell Joe Biden. Tell Joe Biden. To free Leonard Peltier. To free Leonard Peltier. We tell Joe Biden. We tell Joe Biden. To free Leonard Peltier. To free Leonard Peltier. Popular Santa, everybody, for the opportunity. Tokshake.
Okay, can we have, really quickly, do we have any representatives of the Brooklyn and Bronx buses? Do we have anybody from the Brooklyn and Bronx buses? We have, for those buses only, we need a person to meet in the back here. We have some things to take away for the Brooklyn and Bronx buses. So if David from the buses can go back, we have the box lunches for those Brooklyn and Bronx buses. Also letting everybody know we have a couple of things to do here. We are going to be closing in prayer, and then after that we have t-shirts, UA t-shirts, box lunches and everything like that. But please do not go to the back until after the prayer. And I'm gonna come up here. Thank you for that whistle. Oh, we're getting a better mic. Step back, step back, step back. Okay. Sound a little better? Feels a little better. All right. Okay, so we have a couple of things. We're going to do this really quickly. Again, my name is Jean-Luc Pirit. I'm from the Tunica Biloxi tribe. Also, on my dad's side, my grandmother is a member of the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians from the Standing Pine community. And I just wanted to share something. I was back home in New Orleans just last week, I believe it was, for the National Congress of American Indians. There I was representing North American Indian Center of Boston, and we submitted a resolution, a proposed resolution for the National Congress of American Indians consideration. It was beyond the deadline, but because it was of national nature, of emergency nature, we submitted this proposed resolution. The resolution is titled, Kindred Spirits, Israel-Palestine Ceasefire Act. Resolution number 2368, and it reads, whereas we, the members of the National Congress of the American Indians of the United States, invoking the divine blessing of the Creator upon our efforts and purposes in order to preserve for ourselves and our descendants the inherent sovereign rights of our Indian nations, rights secured under Indian treaties and agreements with the United States, and all other rights and benefits to which we are entitled under the laws and Constitution of the United States and the United Nations Declaration of Rights of Indigenous Peoples. To enlighten the public toward a better understanding of the Indian people, to preserve Indian cultural values, and otherwise promote the health, safety, and welfare of the Indian people, do hereby establish and submit the following resolution. Whereas the National Congress of American Indians was established in 1944 and recognizes that the realization of tribal sovereignty requires a full representation and engagement of indigenous peoples, and the adoption of UNDRIP in 2007 not only marked a significant acknowledgement of indigenous peoples, and whereas partially in response to UNDRIP in recent years, the National Congress of American Indians has prioritized negotiations with the United Nations and the Organization of American States. And whereas NCIA remains firm in its commitment to enabling the participation of indigenous governments and peoples on a regular and permanent basis in the UN, and whereas American Indians have long participated in matters of international humanitarian advocacy, including an 1847 donation from the members of Choctaw Nation to those impacted by the genocide in Ireland, commonly referred to as the potato famine. And whereas an 1848 report on the Americans' aid to Ireland notes the largest part of the contributed was by the children of the forest, our red brethren of the Choctaw Nation. And whereas Ireland adopted a pay-it-forward policy in 2020 to aid the Hopi and Navajo during the COVID-19 pandemic, and whereas Ireland wants to see a permanent and sustainable ceasefire, the lifting of the blockade on Gaza, which is at the root cause of the current genocide upon the Palestinian people, and ultimately the establishment of a two-state solution, which is based on the borders of 1967. And whereas individual Indian organization and tribal government members of NCI wish to join the historical chain of international solidarity with Palestine, Ireland, and member states of the United Nations, now therefore be it resolved that the NCAI calls upon the Biden administration in the United States to take serious measures to hold Israel accountable for its human rights violations. We also call on the U.S. administration and Congress to support the United Nations resolution for immediate ceasefire and to suspend sending any military aid or equipment to Israel that is being used to violate the human rights of the Palestinian people. Now therefore be it resolved by the people, this proposed resolution. Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to call up Rosalba. Maestro Rosalba, if you can take the circle. I'll give you the word to lead us in prayer. And for those of y'all on the 3 buses, there are box lunches going to the buses. So.
28, gracias.
No cameras, no cameras.
So please, let's do all turn to the east. Let's close in the day. This is our ways to say thank you. And we welcome you all for saying and coming to us. We're saying thank you to the east for giving us the strength to walk in the presence of the sun. Where with the Otzi? What a turn to your right.
Also in the back, For those bus lunches are on the buses right now. We want to thank everybody for being here. I want to say that this is one of the larger marches that I have seen since I have been marching with NACOB and UAIN. So I want to thank everybody that has been here. I want to thank all of our speakers that have come, that have represented not just the four corners of Turtle Island, but across the globe. We are truly an international event. Thank you to all of our speakers. Thank you to all of our chant leads. Thank you to our marshals and our legal observers, for everyone that is keeping us safe. Thank you so much to the workers, to the unions that have provided so much for us today. Thank you. Thank you. And I know our action is concluded, but can we do it one more time? Free, free Palestine!
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 Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Thank you. Travel safely. Thank you so much. We'll see you next year.